This sounds just like any other metalcore band. It's so boring.
Cookie cutter.
Cookie cutter. They're not creative. Everything sounds the same. Welcome to From Takedowns to Breakdowns, the best show on YouTube featuring A and P. Now on today's episode, we're going to be talking about metalcore, more specifically metalcore riffs. On our own channel, whenever we check out a band like Architects or any other metalcore band like While She Sleeps, for example, it's always the same story. This sounds just like any other metalcore band. It's so boring.
Cookie cutter.
Cookie cutter. They're not creative. Everything sounds the same. And I don't agree with that.
Yeah, especially when it comes to the riffs. I mean, you could say cookie cutter with like the whole formula of the song, but when it comes to the riffs, I feel like the guitar player puts their own DNA to make the riff unique.
Yeah, they bring their own flair, their own flavor into the mix.
Yeah.
And I think it's a cool thing these days to hate on metalcore. Back in the day, it was cool to hate on new metal.
And it's because new metal was popular. But
Super popular.
Now metalcore is like the popular thing, so people want to hate on that.
I think you're right. I think that's what's happening right now, and I don't think it's fair. I don't think metalcore gets a fair shake, all right? So we're here to give metalcore a fair shake, and we wanted to talk about not only metalcore riffs, but the differences between metalcore riffs, how much it changes from one riff to the other. And I thought that we needed some help. We need somebody to come on this show, play some metalcore riffs, and really showcase not only his talent, but the uniqueness of said riffs.
Yeah.
And I thought, who better than NIK Nocturnal? So I contacted our boy, our homie. I contacted our homeboy, and I asked him, Nick, you have a new album out. By the way, he has an album out with his band called 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗧𝗢. He has an album out. So I said, why don't you give us your, like, not the whole riff, because we don't have time for that, but why don't you give us a snippet of your 5 favorite riffs from your album? Like, pick your 5 favorite ones and show us what you can do in those 5, and show us, like, how unique these 5 riffs are.
Yeah.
And then we can analyze, we're going to analyze riff by riff. Does that sound good?
That sounds good, yeah.
All right, so we're going to start, this is going to pop up on the screen now, so you guys can see.
Yeah, our computer's right here.
Our computer's right here. We're going to press play, and you guys are going to see it on the screen. And we're going to go through the 5 riffs. We're going to stop at the end of each riff, and we're going to analyze each riff and show you guys how different they are. And then at the end, we'll try to bundle this all up and try to make some sense out of it.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this? All right, so let's check out the first riff from NIK Nocturnal's new album.
Pretty good riff right there. Like, that's a really, really good riff.
Did you see the intensity in his face?
I can see all. Especially the last part there, the intensity in his face. You can see, like, he's putting himself into that.
I know, he was fingering that guitar like you know, Bill Cosby on a date.
Yeah.
You know, like he was just like going like, and he had like this intensity on his face, like he was all into it. I mean, he was sitting down, but I felt like inside of himself, he was squatting.
Exactly, he was Slavic squatting.
Like, he was just like super into it, like just really, like just ripping it up. I think it's one of those, I would call this a metalcore power riff. Just based on the intensity of his face, the intensity of his look, how he was holding onto the guitar, his position, the way the guitar was sitting on his lap, everything, the angle.
Is a power.
Yeah.
It just screams power.
Oh, and the hoodie. He had a camo hoodie. I mean, if a camouflage hoodie doesn't scream power, I mean, call Sabaton. They'll have a problem with you. I mean, I think that's so obvious that had a little bit of power in it. You agree?
I agree.
Now, are you guys ready for the second riff?
I'm ready.
All right, let's check out the second riff. So that was the second riff. What do you feel about that one?
That one gives me some like Finnish winter vibes, like something Wolfheart, you know, something like that.
I felt like that was a little bit more drawn out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It had a little bit more atmosphere.
I mean,
it had a cold. It felt cold.
Yeah, it did. It did.
It felt.
That's why the finish. That's why I said finish, because it feels very. It has that DNA to it.
It felt emotionally unbalanced.
Yeah.
Like it felt drained almost of emotion. Like it felt like there was something that it was leaving his body. Almost like if you're dying and your spirit is walking away from you.
Yeah.
It kind of had that vibe to it. But I think it goes with the whole scenery and everything else. It definitely has a little bit of that
cold atmosphere.
Yeah, a little bit of Swallow the Sun.
Yeah.
I think it had a little bit of Swallow the Sun. So, are you guys ready for the third riff?
I'm ready.
All right, let's check out this third. All right, third riff.
That's a working man's riff right there.
I agree with you.
That is a working man's riff. I mean, you can see everything behind him. He's definitely a musician, obviously, looking at the stuff behind him. And the facials... A
musician during quarantine.
Exactly. And the facials he was giving us.
Did you also notice there was 2 bottles of water there? I think that allows the riff to be a little bit more fluid.
Yeah, it does.
It doesn't water down the riff. I didn't feel like this was a watered down riff.
But it just felt...
It felt like it was just moving.
It was just part of him.
Yeah, it was going downstream.
Exactly.
It was going downstream. It was part of him, a working man's riff. I agree with you 100%. I mean, it feels like it has a little bit more volume. Definitely has a little bit more depth. There's a little bit more depth to this riff. And it's a riff that at times feels perhaps maybe a little chunky.
Yeah. I think a lot of musicians are going to relate to that riff.
Oh, yeah. And it comes with a package.
Yeah.
It really comes with a package. It feels a little complete. When you look at the previous 2, this one feels a little bit more robust, a little bit more complete. It feels like it fills in all the gaps. So it's definitely a bigger sounding riff as far as I'm concerned. Guys, ready for number 4?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. Number 4.
I mean, that one
is my least favorite.
It's my least favorite. Yeah, it didn't have the atmosphere that the other ones had, especially the second one. It felt like it was lacking something.
It's almost like the sound of white noise.
Yeah, it just had nothing to it.
It just had nothing to it. It had a little bit of it had some punk elements into it because it has this kind of like rebellious nature to it, being alone in an empty room, surrounded by empty space. It has a little bit of that. So that kind of like leads itself to be a little bit more punk driven, a little bit more a finger to society, giving the finger to the man, closing the door and saying, "Mom, you don't know anything about me. You don't know me.
It's not a phase."
It's not a phase, exactly. It has a little bit of that vibe into it. And I think it kind of transported itself from the surroundings into the way the song is put together, into the way that riff comes across. The hunger at the end is definitely visible.
Yeah, you can see it.
I think you can almost taste it.
And I think that's the best part.
I think it's the best part. It felt to me that at the end, it was almost like...
He woke up. He was sleeping throughout the whole riff except for that end.
In the end, there's a sense of coming to Jesus moment.
Yes.
Yeah, there's definitely that. Are you guys ready for the last riff?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's check out the last riff. Wow, at the end there, he really gave it to us.
Yeah.
He had a little bit of his O face.
He did, and he didn't screw up. It's all part of the riff.
I felt this one had a little bit of a death metal influence.
Yeah, very on the wild side of it. Kind of the whole atmosphere kind of reminded me of Carnifex.
Wow, that's very good.
World War X,
At first glance, I didn't think Carnifex. I was going to go towards something a little bit different from that. That's why I went with more death metal. I had a little bit of a Cannibal Corpse vibe going on. But I honestly think Carnifex hits the nail on the head. I think there's definitely a little bit of Carnifex influences into how this riff comes across. I like the end because it felt a little bit more improvised. It felt a little bit different, a little bit outside the box.
Yeah.
Something that we hadn't heard up until that point. So it was something definitely new and fresh.
Definitely all of them had some similarities, but each one of them were different in their own way. But that one was the most different out of all of them.
I think so too. Which one is your favorite?
I gotta say that one. I mean, that one's the most, out of all of them, it's the most unique, but a good second place is number 2.
I think it's the most complete one. I don't necessarily want to go with the word unique. It is unique, but I think it's more complete. It feels that it has a path. Like he knew where he was, he knew where he wanted to go and how to get there in the fastest way possible between 2 points, which is a straight line. And that's exactly the approach that he took. He took a straight line approach. And then his O face at the end, I think, is just the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
It's the climax. It's the climax.
My least favorite one was the last one.
The fourth.
The fourth one, yeah.
Yeah, the fourth one to me felt a little empty.
Yeah, very limp.
Yeah, just a tip.
Just a tip.
Yeah, it just didn't feel like it had the same strength. This one, to me, is the most complete one of them all. And I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think of NIK Nocturnal's 5 favorite riffs from his latest album? Do you have a favorite one? Is there one that you don't like? Is there one that feels like it hits you in all the right spots? Use the comment section and let us know. We want to thank NIK Nocturnal for taking the time to participate in this video to help us out.
Yeah.
Proving the point. I think we've done that.
I think we've proved the point that not all metalcore is the same.
That is a chapter that I think we can all close and move on in our lives. Let's start looking for other things to talk about, other things to discuss. But as far as metalcore riffs all sounding exactly the same, this video proves
we've myth busted it.
Wow.
We're the metal myth busters.
Wow, that was good. That was good. Yeah. And once again, only possible because of our friend. These riffs are taking are creating such an impact on me.
That pulling your energy into it.
I'm losing my words. I'm losing my vocabulary. So I want to thank once again NIK Nocturnal. If you guys want to find out more about Nick, check him out. Check out his new album. He has a new album out with his band Terminus, so go check that out. These were his 5 favorite riffs from that album, so you can expect a lot of great shit on that record. So go check Nick out. Give him some love. Tell him that we sent you guys. And we'll see you guys at the next video.
Yeah.
All right, so take care, guys.
See ya.